few domains in Burgundy have risen as dramatically as Méo-Camuzet. 40 years ago, the estate wasn't bottling its own wines. Today, it stands among Burgundy's most sought-after producers, with bottles that have multiplied many times in value. But here is a question. How much of that success comes from exceptional vineyard holdings, and how much can be traced back to the influence of Henri Jayer, one of Burgundy's most legendary winemakers? Today, I'm sharing 7 bottles from my cellar that I have collected across multiple vintages over the years. By the end of this video, you will understand the history behind Méo-Camuzet, the vineyards that define the domain, and which wines I believe best capture its distinctive style. First, a bit of history. A member of the French Parliament for the Côte d'Or from 1902 to 1932, Etienne Camuzet substantially expanded his vineyard holdings in the 1920s. His daughter, Marianne Noirot, inherited the wines in 1946 and later passed them down to her nephew, Jean Méo, in 1959. Jean, being deeply involved in national politics, the estates were then cultivated by sharecroppers, during which time Henri Jayer exerted a profound influence as the vineyard's custodian in the 1950s. Domaine bottling commenced in 1985, and Jean's son, Jean-Nicolas, returned to Vosne to assume full direction of the estate in 1989. In 2003, Jean-Nicolas founded a négociant business alongside his 2 sisters under the label Méo-Camuzet Frères et Sœurs. By 2008, all sharecropping arrangements have ended, and today, the 20-hectare domain stands unquestionably among Burgundy's finest. Now, let's get into the wines. These are 7 bottles from my cellar that, to my palate, best illustrate the Méo-Camuzet style. Clos de Vougeot, 2011. The history of this vineyard dates back to the late 12th century, when the monks of the Abbey de Citeaux enclosed the land and vines that they received from various donations. It's remained the property of the Cistercian monks until the French Revolution, when it was sold by auction in 1791. With 50 hectares, 80 owners, soil variation, and multiple inclines that affect exposition and ripening, Clos de Vougeot is far from being a homogeneous Grand Cru. Méo-Camuzet's holdings are 3 hectares, with the largest plot 2.8 hectares in Les Chaumes, one of the best locations in the Clos, at the upper part of the Grand Cru, adjacent to the chateau. I bought this in 2014 for $140. It's now around $415. Dark berry, sandalwood, spice, earth, and floral aromas give way to a broad and seamless palette of cherry, raspberry, game, truffle, and licorice, supported by lively acidity and round tannins. Less powerful than the greatest vintages, but immensely enjoyable, this wine combines generous fruit and plenty of energy with the finesse that defines Méo-Camuzet. Beautifully balanced and already drinking wonderfully, it finishes long, fresh, and elegant. Vosne-Romanée Premier Cru Aux Brûlées, 2014. Aux Brûlées is a 4.53-hectare Premier Cru vineyard at the northeastern end of Vosne-Romanée, on top of the slope, just north of Grand Cru Richebourg. The vineyard straddles the D109 road as it emerges from the mouth of the Combe Brûlée, a valley carved into the hillside. The name Brûlée, which means burnt in French, suggests that on this sun-drenched site, where the heat is held by the pebbles of the ground, the grapes tend to get very ripe. However, during the ripening period, cooling westerly winds funnel through the comb, slow the development of the grapes. Méo-Camuzet's parcel is 0.73 hectares. I bought this in 2016 for $290. It's now around $750. Red and black fruits, cellar, earth, crushed rocks, and violets lead into a dense yet seamless palette of red plum, black raspberry, Morello cherry, cocoa, and spices, framed by chalky minerality, brisk acidity, and fine tannins. Now entering its drinking window, this wine combines power and structure with remarkable refinement. There is real depth and mineral character here, yet everything feels controlled and harmonious. A magnificent expression of Aux Brûlées that hints at even greater things to come. Vosne Premier Cru, Cros Parantoux, 2015. Owing its reputation to the legendary Henri Jayer, who replanted it in the early 1950s, Cros Parantoux is a 1.01 hectare east-facing parcel on the slope just above Grand Cru Richebourg. The parcel was let lie fallow after the phylloxera infestation, and Etienne Camuzet planted Jerusalem artichokes during World War II. The topsoil is very shallow, and the subsoil is limestone rock. Henri Jayer had to use explosives to clear up the area to start replanting vines. The first vintage bottled by Henri Jayer was 1978, and the last was 2001. Cros Parantoux is now owned by Emmanuel Rouget and Méo-Camuzet, whose parcel is 0.30 hectares. Cros is an alteration of creux, cras, which in local vernacular is a quarry. Parantoux could be an alteration of pierre en tout, which means stones everywhere. I bought this in 2017 for $550. It's now around $2,700. Dark fruits, plum, sandalwood, and violet aromas give way to a seamless, broad palette of wine berries, blood orange, and smoked tea, supported by savory minerality, bright acidity, and fine tannins. A magnificent wine with striking minerality, remarkable depth, and layer upon layer of complexity. It's ripe and intense, but never clumsy. Everything remains beautifully balanced. The energy is still very much alive, and the combination of drive, poise, and finesse is exactly why Cros Parantoux is spoken of in the same breath as Burgundy's greatest Grand Cru. Richebourg, 2014. Richebourg is a 8.03 hectare Grand Cru made up of 2 lieux-dits. Le Richebourg itself, 5.05 hectares, and Le Vineyard, 2.98 hectares. Apart from La Romanée-Conti and La Tâche, it is often considered the grandest Grand Cru of Vosne-Romanée. The wines are typically deep in color, powerful, yet elegantly structured, with a rich, generous mouthfeel supported by fine-grained tannins. Méo-Camuzet's 0.35 hectare parcel is located at the top of the Le Vineyard section of the Grand Cru. I bought this in 2016 for $625. It's now around $2,250. Dark berry, plum, sandalwood, leather, and violet aromas lead into a refined and concentrated palate, with silky tannins supporting pure fruit, black tea, Asian spices, and a subtle mineral character throughout. Just entering its drinking window, this is a magnificent Richebourg that combines intensity with remarkable refinement. There is plenty of depth and power here, but it never feels heavy or imposing. The wine moves effortlessly between energy and elegance, concentration and delicacy, while hints of emerging complexity suggest its best years may still lie ahead. True to the Méo-Camuzet style, this is a Richebourg built more on finesse and precision than sheer weight, a bottle that rewards patience and careful attention. Vosne-Romanée Premier Cru, Les Chaumes, 2014. Les Chaumes is a 6.5 hectare Premier Cru vineyard located on a vein of limestone and marl at the southern end of Vosne-Romanée, next to the border with Nuits-Saint-Georges. At the low part of the slope, it sits just beneath Premier Cru Aux Murgers. Chaume, in local vernacular, refers to land left fallow for a long time before vines were planted. Méo-Camuzet has the largest parcel with 2.01 hectares. I bought this in 2016 for $105. It's now around $325. Dark fruits, baking spices, wood smoke, cedar, autumn leaves, and rose petals lead into a supple palette of dark berries and cocoa, supported by choky minerality, integrated acidity, and fine tannins. It might not possess the depth of some of the domain's more famous wines, but it is wonderfully complete and deeply satisfying. Effortlessly balanced, energetic, and quietly complex, it combines real substance with elegance and charm. A superb example of why Les Chaumes remains one of the hidden gems in the range. Nuits-Saint-Georges, Premier Cru Aux Murgers, 2011. Aux Murgers is a 4.89-hectare Premier Cru vineyard on a moderate slope at the Vosne end of Nuits-Saint-Georges. In Burgundy, a Murger is a bank of flat and grey stones that have been cleared from the vineyards. Méo-Camuzet's parcel is 0.73 hectares, with vines planted in 1965 and 1972. I bought this in 2014 for $90. It's now around $310. Red berries, grilled meat, truffle, allspice, and flowers lead into a round, silky palette of dark fruit, chocolate, candied orange, and forest floor, supported by lively acidity and powdery tannins. This is a charming and beautifully made Nuits-Saint-Georges, rich, generous, and muscular in character, yet showing a level of finesse and complexity that often brings Vosne-Romanée to mind. Balanced, focused, and immensely enjoyable to drink today. Nuits-Saint-Georges, Premier Cru Les Perrières, Méo-Camuzet Frères et Sœurs, 2010. Les Perrières is a 3.33-hectare Premier Cru vineyard at the southern end of Nuits, upslope from Les Brûlées. The name refers to the ancient quarries that once existed on the site before the land was reclaimed for planting wines. This négociant cuvée comes from vines planted in the 1950s on a vineyard entirely managed by the Méo-Camuzet team. I bought this in 2013 for $110. It's now around $380. Red and dark berries, crushed stone, forest floor, and floral notes introduce a smooth palette of cherry, raspberry, strawberry, marzipan, underbrush, and sweet spice, supported by lingering minerality and fine tannins. This is a classy wine that balances power, fruit purity, and freshness with remarkable ease. What I enjoy most is a harmony between its charm, finesse, and energy. A splendid bottle that continues to over-deliver. So, what is my favorite wine among those 7 bottles? If I had to choose just one, it would be the Cros Parantoux. Having followed it across multiple vintages, I have repeatedly found it capable of outperforming many illustrious Grand Crus. Its combination of depth, minerality, finesse, energy, and complexity is extraordinarily rare, even by Burgundy standards. Having said that, the Vosne-Romanée Les Chaumes and the Nuits-Saint-Georges Aux Murgers are perfect starting points and a rewarding next step for those wishing to discover Méo-Camuzet's range. These are the Méo-Camuzet wines that I have chosen to cellar across multiple vintages over the years, and the bottles I most enjoy sharing with family and friends during life's happiest gatherings. Around the table, they invariably spark lively discussion, not only about the wines themselves, but also about the remarkable rise of a domain that has become one of Burgundy's benchmarks. Some bottles undoubtedly command prices that invite debate. Whether certain wines truly justify those prices is ultimately a matter of personal judgment. What matters most to me is that year after year, these wines continue to deliver genuine pleasure. They combine exceptional vineyard sites with a house style that remains unmistakably Méo-Camuzet. Generous, refined, and remarkably consistent. That, more than reputation or market value, is why they continue to earn a place in my cellar. If you have had the opportunity to taste Méo-Camuzet, I would love to hear which wine stood out most to you in the comment section below. You will find more of my cellar insights and tasting notes over on Instagram. Massive thanks for watching today, and I will see you in the next one.